Calling this Board of Health meeting to order. Today is the 9th of November, 2012. It's a Friday. It is now 11 o'clock in the morning. My name is Tom Constantine. I'm the Chairman of the Board of Health of Hanson. Seated here to my left is Mr. Richard Edgell, a member of the board, and to my right is Mr. Terrence McSweeney. To my far right is Mr. Matthew Tanis, the health agent who is going to be taking the minutes of this meeting. At the outset, I would like to tell everybody that's in attendance at this meeting that this is a meeting of the Board of Health. This is not a hearing, it's a meeting. Any discussion regarding this matter will be confined to the members of the Board of Health. That being the case, the agenda for the meeting is to discuss and vote legal action against the town administrator. And that would be of the town of Hanson. That would be currently the town administrator is the Mr. Rene Reed. I will make a motion that the Hanson Board of Health vote to proceed to confer with legal assistance, i.e. an attorney, to discuss the possibility of some sort of legal action to prevent and preclude the town administrator. In this instant case, it's Mr. Rene Reed, but in the future, it can be any town administrator, from interfering in with the operation and governance of the Board of Health as outlined in Chapter 111, Section 27 of the Mass General Law. Do I hear a second?
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
All right, second.
All right, discussion?
What are we attempting to accomplish here?
To restrain the town administrator from interfering with the Board of Health.
Define interfere. I guess what I'm asking is, what are we trying to resolve here? Why are we talking about hiring an attorney at hundreds of dollars an hour?
We're not.
What are we trying to accomplish? What's our goal here?
The goal is to have the town administrator cease and desist from his interference.
Define interference. What are we trying to do? What
I have
specifically are we talking
I have in my possession, and it's in the possession of the Board of Health, meetings of minutes going back 3 years where this matter, it started with Mr. Finglas and you, when you were the chairman.
Yeah.
Where Finglas was insinuating himself into the issues of the Board of Health. It went from Finglas after he left. You had issues with Mr. Reed regarding the former health agent insinuating himself into the actions of the Board
And
of
we
Health.
always, this board, when I say we, this board always managed to overcome those obstacles.
We most certainly
I
did
guess,
not.
I guess what I'm asking is, why are we sitting here today having this discussion? What precisely precipitated this discussion? That's my question. There has always been a blurring of the lines of responsibility with respect to the health agent, and we've always managed to work through those issues in the past without involving attorneys, without involving public hearings, and without finger pointing. I guess I'm asking, why are we sitting here today having this discussion?
Well, in the past 6 months, it's gone from bad to worse. The town administrator has absolutely no business, none, zero, of interfering in with the business of the Board of Health. And in the last instance, it began with the hiring of a new health agent. Mr. Reed initially stated that he was going to be solely responsible to do that, and we countered, no, under Mass General Law, that's our responsibility.
I don't think there was.
The only thing that the town administrator does is cut the checks to the employees of the Board of Health. That's it. Now, in the case of Mrs. Tramontana, who is our administrative assistant, she's a contractual employee, and she falls into a very, very vague area because she's a contractual employee with a union agreement. She's covered by a union agreement. Other than that, every other employee of the town of health, the Board of Health, comes under the control and governance of the Board of Health.
And I share that perspective with you. I guess what I'm saying is, we have always managed to work through those issues. To
Well-
my knowledge, if you'll let me, we've always managed to work through those issues without turning it into this kind of a formal setting and this kind of a formal situation. I guess I'm a little perplexed as to why this is all exploding right now,
Well,
just based on my own operational history. And you're correct, I was the chairman for a number of years. And again, there was a blurring of the lines of responsibility. I think that's a natural consequence of the Town Administrator Act, and the fact that everybody's in this building, and that's been the situation for years, but we always managed to work through it. I guess I'm a little confused as to why your motion was to involve attorneys, to generate opinions, and maybe initiate some kind of a legal action. I just don't see that we're doing the taxpayers of this town any favor by running up legal bills in this regard. Unless you can show me, a clear demarcation between where things were when I was the chairman and where things are right now, I'm afraid I just can't agree with this.
I have had conversation with Mr. Reed in the past, as to my opinion, after reading Chapter 111, Section 27 of the Mass General Law, and the Town Administrator Act, where they conflict. And I've said, this matter is only going to this causes nothing but constant wrangling. And to get things ironed out, if we get a judicial opinion, everybody knows where they stand. It's in black and white. This is your responsibility, this is your responsibility.
At what
That's
cost?
it.
At what cost?
Well, if I have to pay a large part of this out of my own pocket, I'll do it.
Excuse me.
We heard from one member, I'd like to just...
Yes,
say-
absolutely.
Mr. McSweeney keeps on talking about the cost of this. We have access to the staff attorney for the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards, Charles Power. Reason for this meeting this morning, I would say, would be because we're notifying everybody, that's the action we're taking, that's where we're going, we already have it posted, we're speaking to Cheryl tomorrow.
So you already made the decision before we even had this meeting? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
No.
excuse me.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Through the chair, I mean, unless you want to talk to me
I
directly.
am asking you. The statement you just made sounded like you guys
Please,
made the
please.
decision before we even sat down here today.
Listen,
Let
we had to
him
post a
please
meeting.
continue, you can rebut.
We had to post a meeting. It's required by law.
Yeah.
All right. We had to post a
That's a
meeting.
portion of the requirement of the law,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yes, yes it is. All right, so, Mr. Chairman, I move to vote.
I would like to say a few other things before we move to vote. The straw that broke the camel's back, as you had asked, was the fact that during our current issue with Hurricane Sandy, our health agent, unbeknownst to the Board of Health, was directed to remain at his residence rather than proceed to the town to his appointed place of duty. Now, how and why that occurred is still unknown to me, because Mr. Tanis is an employee of the Board of Health. He's not an employee of the town administrator. He's not an employee of the fire chief. He's an employee of the Board of Health. Yet, he was not here in the community where he was supposed to be, on company time. He was at his home. And as far as I know, none of the members of the Board of Health had any knowledge of that. And I'm still wading through that. And on top of that, after asking people how this happened, I've received conflicting testimony or conflicting documented evidence from several different people. So we're going to have to sift through that at a later date. But that being said, we will move to vote. All in favor of the motion?
You have to recognize
Aye.
people. You have to recognize people. You can't just take a vote. You're in discussion right now.
Mr. Chairman,
You're in discussion right now, and you have people with hands up.
you have to be recognized by the chairman, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor, say
Well,
aye.
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 All right.
2-0.
Hey,
Totally illegal.
yeah.
All this is precipitated
Here's the-
because of the
here's the-
against the
Read this. This is this clown in the middle. There. There's this clown in the middle. Really?
He sat for months trying to construct a
A woman maggot, I'll kill you someday. Come on, Agate.
Yeah, really, no, don't. please
What's the
don't-
matter
You
with
ever
you?
go after my son again, at his shop and lie to him, I will, you'll be done. Believe me.
Come on, please.
My family, Agate, and you're in
And
trouble.
you two need to figure out where it's coming from.
Yeah, it's you too. It's him. Believe me, I will get you if you fuck with my family.
Kevin,
Yeah? What? You're a liar. Come on.